Ryan, you're a Jets fan. You know all about analyzing bad teams. If you're the Browns, you do what?
Can you take Josh Allen twice?
Big year for the Cleveland Browns. They make a change at the top. Sashi Brown, the Sam Hinkie of the NFL, is gone. In comes John Dorsey. He's inherited quite a haul. 5 picks in the first 2 rounds, including pick 1 and pick 4. Now, they basically are starting from scratch. They have Myles Garrett and not much else. Mike, where do the Browns start?
Well, look, I think the Browns have been in search of a quarterback since forever. I mean, the last quarterback who won a playoff game was Vinny Testaverde, so that's 1994. So I think it's been a long, long time coming. They have to find the answer to the quarterback, and I'm just going to give you a little clue here. It's not Tyrod Taylor. I know what Headline Hughes said, but it's not Tyrod Taylor. Maybe a good change of pace player, but they need a franchise quarterback. And then to me, they have some pieces on defense. Myles Garrett at one side, Bradley Chubb on the other would be a great combination. And, you know, maybe they use I would use the 4th pick for the quarterback that maybe you thought was left. Instead, I think they're going to use the 1st pick on a quarterback.
So you think they go 1 with a quarterback and then 4 they try to get Chubb, or will Chubb be gone?
But well, you're saying you would take Chubb number 1.
I would take Chubb number 1. I would take Chubb number 1, and then Darnold would go to the Giants. Let's say let's play mock draft 101 here, and then that leaves the Jets with Rosen or Allen, and then that'll leave you with Rosen or Allen. And I think if you want to take Allen, you're better off taking Chubb and waiting for Allen at 4. But you know, I think knowing John Dorsey's history, what he's done, Eric Fisher, the first pick when he was in Kansas City out of Central Michigan, I think he'll take the best player, the player he feels like the quarterback that he must get.
I agree. Ryan, you're a Jets fan. You know all about analyzing bad teams. If you're the Browns, you do what?
Can you take Josh Allen twice?
You can. You can. Just
there
do
you
it.
go.
Just do it.
Double the odds of him completing a single pass.
Exactly.
Forfeit
if
the
he has a
50%
chance of succeeding and you take him twice.
Yep.
But I really do think that, you know, the Browns have this incredible amount of draft capital, right? I think by like the draft board, they have the most in the modern era.
Yep.
They added as much as the Eagles came into the draft with, and it would just really disappoint me if they didn't at least explore the possibility of doing something weird and something kind of unorthodox, because I think just having so much more capital than everyone else sort of incentivizes you to take a bigger risk.
Define weird though. Give me weird. Give me
like take a quarterback with both picks.
So let's let everyone who's watching this come inside the Ringer office for a minute. These two, I have the pleasure of sharing a workspace with them, and this is the thing they talk about most, I'd say, in recent weeks, is should the Cleveland Browns take 2 quarterbacks? And would like you to explain why you think that's even worth considering. But before you even provide the point, I'd like to provide the counterpoint, which is if you can't successfully evaluate and draft 1 quarterback, why would you try to do it twice?
John Dorsey, is he going to be infected with the Browns virus? That just
everyone
makes
they draft is, so.
That's true. Quarterback is by far the most valuable position in the league, right? By virtue of just being a quarterback, it makes you more valuable than another player who's way more talented at another position, right? One of the best, you know, team building chip in the NFL is a good rookie quarterback, or a good quarterback on a rookie contract, right? And if, you know, each draft pick is a percentage play, no draft pick is 100% chance of working out. Taking 2 of the 4 best quarterback prospects in the draft seems to me like it could be a way to ensure that one of them works out, right?
I think your point's well taken. The problem is it's a numbers game. So if you draft a guy the 1st pick overall in the draft, you can't stick your toe in the water. You're either all in with them or you're not. And if you pick a guy at 4, you're either all in with them or not. And quarterback is not like left guard and right guard. You can't play them both at the same time. So
yeah, well, now with that attitude.
But I mean, how do you break up the reps?
Well, the examples you just gave though of kind of hedging your bets with multiple bodies, that's what they're doing with Tyrod Taylor. That's why they traded for him and brought him in, is so that if whoever they draft either doesn't hit or isn't ready right away, they have a warm body. To put a cold body, I guess, because it's Cleveland, but they have somebody to put out there. If you do that at 1 and 4, you're not only missing out on the value of somebody like Chubb or Saquon Barkley, who we haven't talked about yet, but we should because he's heavily linked to the Browns. You're immediately saying to the guy you took at 1, we don't believe in you. What if I hired another editor and I was like, your specialties here are NFL and soccer? You'd be like, Mal doesn't believe in me.
Can you do that?
I think it would inspire me to be the best editor I can be. I shouldn't have said that on the air. That's gonna happen now.
That's an easy cut. I think that generally when you look at the gift that Sashi Brown gave John Dorsey, it is as good an opportunity for a team to take a huge step forward and very quickly than any team has had in years. Because as we've talked about, 5 really good players, if they hit on even 3 of them in the first 2 rounds, they're all cost controlled for 5 years. You're going to have insane amounts of cap room. I think the Browns still have $71 million in cap room.
But they can't spend. There's nobody to spend it on. That's the
That's
problem.
I think there is, not right now. You hit on these picks this year. You see what you have. You see what you need. Okay, do you need more defensive line? Probably not. Do you need to build out that secondary? Yes. You have so much capital, not only with the draft, but also in the salary cap. John Dorsey can build any team he wants. And I think that's really important to remember.
He can build any team he wants, but he's the architect, and the actual builder is Headline Hugh. Okay, so answer me this. You just going to commit all these resources to a quarterback, to a coach who you don't even believe in, you didn't hire. Like, it's completely backwards. Like, all this is backwards. Like, he's got Headline Hugh sitting there who's going to run the West Coast. Oh, by the way, Todd Haley's going to put in his offense, and then Hugh's going to mingle a little bit, and you've got this young quarterback that you're trying to develop. I don't know how it works. I really don't know how it works. Like, to me, it's either one way or no way, and when you kept Hugh, you just muddled the waters.
Well, I think so. You're getting at, I think, in many ways actually the key question for the Browns, even bigger than which is the right quarterback for them to take. It's, do they have a strategy anymore? Because they did, certainly. It was like you're saying, acquire and accumulate as much draft capital as you can. Get the picks. Change the way people think about trades in the NFL. Kevin wrote a great piece about this for The Ringer. Well, the first thing the new regime does is start trading away those picks to bring in veteran players, right? The Jarvis Landry deal, the Tyrod Taylor deal. They signed Carlos Hyde. These are established players. But the philosophy behind moves like that is what you do if you think you're going to win some games that year. So how does that align with what we all think the Browns have been doing for the last few years, which is get as many picks as we can, get as many young, cheap contracts as we can, get as many players with bright futures as we can, and work toward that goal X number of weeks or years down the road?
I think the biggest thing is that the Browns' plan was slightly flawed in this way. I think that the long game in the NFL is much shorter than anybody thinks. I think you really can only rebuild over a 2 or 3 year period, three being the max, because of just the way the NFL is set up. There's too many injuries. The prime of a guy can sometimes be 2 seasons. You get into this long game thinking and you're saying, okay, we're going to process it, we're going to do it over 6 or 7 years. Well, NFL contracts, they're only cheap for 4 years. I mean, Brandon Cooks is making $8 million now. I mean, he's not cheap anymore. And so you only get a 3 max window where you can do the process stuff. And that's why the Browns' plan is slightly flawed. They need to start winning now because the guys at the front end of their rebuild are just going to get expensive.
Okay, so if that's true, then who should they be taking? Because what you just said, which I agree with, does not in any way support drafting Josh Allen. It just doesn't.
I'm not supporting drafting Josh Allen.
No, but a lot of people on the internet are supporting that. So which quarterback, if that is the lens through which we're viewing either what we think the Browns should be doing or what they actually are doing, which quarterback is right for them? Does that support Darnold?
I think it's a toss-up. It depends on your evaluation of Darnold or Rosen, because I could go either way on that.
Dorsey doesn't like Rosen, right? Those are the murmurs.
John Dorsey once sat me down a couple of years ago and told me I wanted. Is that how we deal with reporting?
Was he going to scold you?
No, and he was explaining his own philosophy, and I forget the exact percentages, but it was something like he said he was 75% Atlanta Braves, 25% Oakland Athletics. And what he meant by that, this is, even though he told me this 2 years ago, this was a 10 or 15-year-old analogy, which is we do the numbers a quarter of the time, we do the tape 3/4 of the time. And so he is, and by the way, in the NFL, that is extremely forward-thinking to use that much analysis because most guys are just tape only at this point. They don't even care about athleticism. But he is sort of in the Belichick mold. He likes the 3-cone drill. He likes vertical jump. He likes broad jump. He likes all of that stuff. And so he's going to, there's no Myles Garrett in this draft as far as athleticism, but he's going to like a guy like Chubb. He's going to like a guy like even Barkley or Derwin James.
Well, I personally, if I were running the Browns, which mercifully I'm not,
one day,
I would take. I think you have to take a quarterback. You just have to. So as much as I want to be the troll and I want to say Chubb and Barkley, but I can't do it. I would take the best quarterback, who I think is Rosen. I know that doesn't seem to be where they're leaning. And then I would take Chubb or Derwin James, best available defender at 4. But I think there's a case for taking Barkley.
I would take Chubb at 1. And if there was a quarterback, if I thought I liked, if Darnold was there at 4, which he's not, I would take him. I would take Rosen at 4. I would take 2 of the best players in the draft. If one of them happened to be the quarterback that I wanted, but I would take Chubb and I would have him first.
It's Rosen 1 for me, and then 4 Derwin James.
Look at us, so in sync.
I'm sticking with Galaxy Brain. Darnold 1, Baker Mayfield 4.